made of pulk. Pulk is a trekking sled. Hey everybody, Sifu Z here, and we are at our winter compound. See in the background, there's the Caldor fire. And all these downed trees got me to thinking, this is a crisis or opportunity. This is a wonderful opportunity to take some of these downed trees and make a teepee. So this way, we've got a nice warm dwelling to hang out. It's supposed to be a really bad winter. So, figure let's prepare as best we can. So, that there is a rocket stove, and it works really well. The thing about a rocket stove is that it's like a Wing Chun fireplace. You put the wood in the bottom and it burns it very efficiently. So once you get it going, there's very little smoke, is what I'm trying to say. But you got to get it going first. I have a few more logs I have to add to this before I then start scrounging for tarps, using whatever tarps I have around and find, and cover this as best I can. And then there'll be an inside skirt. So it will be a traditional teepee, minus the squaw. Alright. Under that tarp is Luna's trailer and the bike. So we'll be able to bike around on some of the trails here. There's some amazing trails all around here. Bike trails, hiking trails. This is in the middle of the El Dorado National Forest. I thought I'd show you around a little bit because this is where we'll be training for the next few months or so. At least until summer. Because once the heat hits, we'll probably be heading back up to Arcata and Crescent City. So any of you out there in Arcata or Crescent City, specifically Crescent City, that are interested in training, you can prepare now, and then I'll see you when summer hits. However, if you want to train now, you can do so online, or you can arrange to train with me one-on-one. I'm not training groups due to the whole COVID thing, and but I am outdoors here, so I can take one-on-one or maybe, you know, 2 or 3 students at a time, because we're outside, right? But it would be more of a intensive seminar kind of a thing, workshop. And one of the things I'd like to extend to you all is, if you would like to do an extensive sort of Wing Chun wilderness survival slash training. Um, well, I'm definitely available for that sort of thing. So, um, if you'd like to come out, live out here in the wilderness, create your own shelter, unless, of course, you want to bring your own shelter. I think I'd prefer, well, bring your own shelter like your car or a tent, and then I can show you how to uh, what is the word I'm trying to use here? Transition. There you go. I could teach you how to transition from one style of shelter to another. I've done many kinds of shelters, like igloos and snow caves, and I don't believe I've been in a teepee. I've been in teepees. This is the first teepee that I've built, though. And sure, yurts, geodesic domes, and whatnot. So I think it's really neat and very luxurious, really, to be able to have a bunch of different kinds of dwellings and temporary dwellings at that. It's kind of cool because no one dwelling, really. I don't care how much money you spend. The U.S. military has figured this out. That's why they've given away all their bunkers. But no one dwelling really is perfect, right? And therefore, you really have to spend a lot of money in order to compensate for that. For instance, if you live in the desert, massive air conditioning, electricity, etc. Live in a cold place, um, you got the opposite issue of heating. However, if you can be sort of semi nomadic, then you can kind of set up various dwellings um, that suit the season. And uh, like I said, it's quite a luxury, you know. But it's a luxury anyone can afford if they just kind of take the time, gain the skills, and just do it. It's not easy, but nothing worthwhile is very easy, right? You hear that sound in the background. It's the lumber companies. The El Dorado National Forest, I think, shares or borders a lot of land with the lumber company. I forget which lumber company, or, but so and now with the fires, well, they've been working trying to cut down these, thin out the trees well before the Caldor fire. I think it's probably why they were able to have maybe somewhat of a handle on it. Because although this area, I mean, all the trees are scorched, but it didn't decimate this particular area. Some parts are decimated with pretty much blackened, scorched earth kind of a thing. So Wing Chun, I hope all of you that train in Wing Chun are sticking to your Wing Chun practice. One of the last videos I put up was regarding what to do when it was a short, what to do when things go wrong, go bad quickly. And well, I guess my answer um, doesn't directly answer that question, because this is really why we train in Wing Chun, right? It might even be why a lot of people exercise and all that, but we're kind of finding out that exercise, overdoing exercise, which is very easy to do, uh, can be very problematic for your health. So we all know Wing Chun is the most sustainable method of exercise, right? Most sustainable uh, path to fitness, both physical and psychological fitness. So, and the interesting aspect was when things go wrong and when things go bad quickly, it's because there's very little time to respond, to react, to prepare. So this is the whole concept of Seelental and training and focusing on Seelental, right? Now, this also works psychologically. If you're a fan of Sam Harris, um, he has a wonderful app called, well, Waking Up. Go to samharris.org and you'd see what Sam has to offer. But he's huge into this meditation. And Wing Chun truly is a meditation, it's a standing meditation. So we do this slowly and we focused and we compress and we get that integrity that it's not something that you can just attain and put in your back pocket. Integrity is something that is like life. It has to be nurtured, maintained. It's that integrity that allows us to respond efficiently and quickly when things go wrong, when things go bad quickly. It is that very efficiency that we build in the very DNA of our whole body. So we're not just talking about fighting, hand to hand combat. We're talking about all sorts of fighting, health, psychological stress, emotional stress, right? Sociological, family. The list goes on and on. And the one response that we can develop is the response of integrity, the response of having a grounded reaction. So Siumtao becomes so important for us, right? If you did one thing and only one thing in Wing Chun, you would want it to be that Siumtao, that standing meditation. And I prefer that standing meditation over the sitting meditation. It's the link, the missing link, really. If I could offer anything to advance what Sam Harris has to offer, it would be to focus on that Sium Tao, on that Wing Chun standing meditation, rather than just sitting. The Shaolin monks were the ones that figured this out. Remember the story is the monks would would all sit and they would meditate. But some of the younger uh, monks or wannabe monks, practicing monks, would fall asleep, and it would be a big problem. Now, I'm not quite sure if that long ponytail, they would tie that up to try to prevent them. I'm not sure if that's true. But they did create this approach of meditation where you would include not just your mind and your breath, but your your whole body, right? And it was monumental and still is monumental. Yet, I think, unfortunately, very overlooked. And it's easy to overlook. Because are we doing a martial art? Are we preparing for battle? Or are we relaxing and meditating? And those are, two extremes that really reveal an imbalance in an understanding of Kung Fu, or certainly an imbalance within their understanding of Wing Chun Kung Fu. So, it's a tricky answer, right? Because you if things happen and you're not prepared for them, then that's when you become a victim. That's when tragedy strikes. So this is why it's so important to prepare, and to prepare by way of establishing that physical and psychological and emotional integrity that we get through Seolam Tao and Wing Chun. So I hope that you guys over this next season will join me. Um, I'm going to be offering that group Seolam Tao to any of the Patreon patrons. So, whatever tier level you're on within Patreon, you will be invited to these live Seolam Tao sessions. Now, the catch is you do have to be in communique with me. Um, it's become very challenging. It's a security risk in many ways, um, to communicate without knowing who you're communicating with. It's something that's kind of happened with the internet that is really needs to be addressed, which is people just assume identities. You see the problem there? Unless I actually am communicating with you, then I really don't know if it's you or not. Doesn't matter with the emails and all of that. It's really through that communication process that we know that we are each other. Okay, and this is a huge problem with the modern day computer, um, mobile device situation that we have. So we have to use our Wing Chun even in the technological world. That's why I've really drifted away from all unnecessary social medias. Essentially, YouTube and Patreon are my only um, social medias right now. And that's so I can communicate with you guys effectively, efficiently. So we have the tools, We have the know how. We can do this. And it's uh, so much easier to do it when we do it together. Now, of course, if you have a practice that you do on your own, and of course you should, um, that's great. But being symbiotic creatures of community, right? And plus, we learn so much from one another through the various revelations of our standing meditation, of our focus of the art of Wing Chun. So, all right. Well, I think that's all we need to say on this subject. It's such a beautiful day today. Oh my gosh. So, the storms are coming in, so later on today, um, there'll be a storm, and then in just a little higher elevations, there'll be snow, of course. Um, yeah, I spend, if I'm, yeah, this is something I wanted to say to you guys, and that is Wing Chun is what allows me to pursue the life that I've always dreamt of. So it's kind of funny because the path there and the people observing your journey, your friends, family, strangers, um, a lot of them don't understand, right? Nor should they if they haven't done this sort of thing or if they haven't had this sort of a dream. And the first day of training Wing Chun, that door opened up for me. It allowed me to conquer what was in the way of attaining that dream. And it wasn't a smooth ride, it's up and down. Will probably continue to be up and down. That's just life. But your appreciation, that's what really remains consistent. On this journey, I have not waned at all in my appreciation of the dream that have, and my first day of Wing Chun, I realized that that was going to help me to deal with the fears, with the um, with the psychological imbalances that really are the main obstacles. Because you've got long-term isolation, exposure to the elements. There's a lot of there's a lot of things that will make this lifestyle a nightmare if you aren't prepared psychologically, physically, but more so psychologically. I learned this on the Pacific Crest Trail when I would not see people for a long stretch of time, how psychologically challenging that was. it got to be where the trail was easy. That was nothing. After the first 600 miles or so, the trail gets easy. But the psychology in dealing with your mental well being and dealing with that greatest enemy, which is, of course, ourselves, that is why I would always run back to society. Now I run away. I I'm always trying to get back into the wilderness, so I just go into society so I can resupply, to get medical attention, dog food, stuff like that. And eventually, I'd like to get beyond that. So there's a goal here. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want to ever interact with other human beings and society. On the contrary, I really enjoy other people's company. Um, but I equally enjoy my solitude and having the time for that thing I like to call self parenting, learning, growing. And Sifu Z number one, right? Appreciate all things. So when that bad weather comes in, when things go bad quickly, I can appreciate them. All right. I'll see you the next video. And of course, aloha.